Welcome back to the LPL. It is Week 8, Day 1, and we are in the final sprint before playoffs. We're back in intra-conference play, which means only 5 series are left for these teams. And now it is Team WE taking on FunPlus Phoenix, and a very wounded Team WE.
Yeah, Team WE not looking anywhere near their highest form. Of course, you always have to cast your mind back to the semi-finals of Worlds. They've looked nothing like that, and even coming back to the regular season, you'd have high expectations for them the first week off when 4 of the roster members were the same, but they looked completely disjointed. It does really feel like Condi is the heart and soul of this roster, and with Condi's absence currently, they've been completely shook up.
And so many questions all the time. Where is Condi? Where has he gone? For now, you just need to understand that Magic and Celestial are the starting members of Team WE. You basically have to say, welcome to the new Team WE. This is what you have. And we do have a very surprise on the other side, because Bing is not the starting member for FPX. It's Cool.
And this is exciting on multiple levels. Firstly, Cool's back. He's had his tenure in multiple different esports organizations. But first, let's get into WE. 957, Magic, Shie, Mystic, and Celeste.
And again, Condi nowhere to be found. Hasn't for the last few weeks. Welcome your new jungler. Get used to Magic and Celestial. They're here to stay.
Certainly right. And of course, their opponents, Frosk, FPX.
Gimgoon, Pepper, the legend himself, Cool, LWX, and Chris.
Yeah, now Cool, he's been an OMG, LGD newbie. He's been a bit of everywhere at the moment, Cool, and he's finally found a new home in FunPlus Phoenix. And the reason this is exciting is FPX have looked like they've been their weakest through the middle lane, through where Bing has been super inconsistent. He's come out in interviews, he said he's got some stage frights, and that does seem to affect him, but lately he's just been completely out of sorts.
You're being really fair to Bing, because in
Yes,
my opinion, he's gotten absolutely blasted and thrashed in the mid lane. And FPX, yes, you can have some criticisms about a lot of their different laners. LWX comes to mind, flashing forward aggressively,
yes,
putting himself in danger, but Bing has been a big issue and a weak pivot point for the team.
LWX is aggressive to a fault. Bing just is a fault in the team at the moment that did need to get fixed. There was a week where he looked a little bit better, so I started to get some higher hopes for him, and then it all went downhill even further than I thought it could possibly go from the previous performances, which is why I'm very happy to see that Cool is here, as the last time we saw Cool, he was actually playing quite well.
And that does mean that there is a secret weapon to look at Team WE. And as we said, they are at their weakest. So let's go ahead and kind of look at their cross-conference journey to this point, because it has been a relatively bumpy ride. So you can see Invictus Gaming, Royal Never Gives Up, and Rogue Warriors, they've all dropped. And including dropping games to very weak teams. That is a TOP, Suning, and LGD series win, but a 2-1 victory that was a struggle.
A lot of their wins are actually 3-game sets, which is not something you would expect to see from them. Now, looking past that, of course, at least they were victories in the end. Their MVP is the other place that your eyes will always go towards, Frosk, and it's pretty obvious to say who that one's going to be. He's not just the MVP of Team WE, but he is the MVP of the LPL right now.
Yeah, the front runner for most valuable player for the league, CA, and it's just unfortunate because, like you said, he's literally having the split of his career, but the rest of his team, whether it's rebuilding of the synergy or just individual lapses in judgment, even from Mystic himself, who's not a new member, they are just sliding backwards.
But the hope is there for Team WE when you look at their last set, because they played around Mystic, and Mystic did have a good performance, so they are showing signs of growth and maybe developing into the future games.
See if that development is going to be worth it, because we're going to send this over to the casters. Let's take it away, Pulse and Raz.
Thank you, guys. And before we get into this one, we really have to talk about stakes, and not the food, not the coach of RW, but talking about what this means for both these two teams. Because FPX, most likely the only team really to challenge WE over their 4th place spot going into playoffs.
Yep, this is not looking good for Vici, and it's not looking good for OMG. So FPX right now are 2 slots away from being able to hit up on WE and BLG, and having direct head-to-head versus DLB is going to be, or at least for WE versus be nice. So FPX, if you're going to take a victory back in your own group, it has to be today to set that pace and set that real race going up against both teams of BLG and WE.
This would be the perfect game to get, because earning that head-to-head would put you in a theoretical tiebreaker scenario ahead of your counterparts WE. Of course, they will still have to challenge BLG, who have a similar scoreline to WE, exactly the same, but they do own that head-to-head there. So, FPX, what are you made of? Because you've also got a new player in the mid lane today as well in the form of Cool.
Yeah, you say new player, I guess new player for the team, but a real old face and a man who's showcased that he has a lot of drive, a lot of ambition. There were questions of how he would play in the beginning of 2017 Spring Split when he went with Newbie and was challenging Coco in that slot, but he was playing phenomenal. That's why they were still playing cool for a good portion of it, but Coco won out just because he had that synergy with Swift. Goes to LGD, and even though that team is failing in a lot of regards, it wasn't failing mid lane. So Cool is a consistent, I guess, cool player. I'm trying to read that shirt right now. I'm not rapper. He's not a rapper.
Not a rapper.
Yes.
He's
I love him.
Super hot fire.
I love him. That was sick.
I wonder if he knows.
That. I love that. And that's, by the way, the most used phrase come out of Rusty. So he's probably gonna love that when he's on the desk. But yes, he's not a rapper. He's a mid laner.
He's a good mid laner.
And he's a damn good mid laner at that. So I want to see what Cool can do come back in this one.
I wonder if he knows what that says in the shirt. Because,
he does.
Because we're in China, there's a lot. Because you know how when you're in the West, there's a lot of different like Chinese symbols, like Japanese symbols that you see on shirts, and people just buy them and have no idea what they mean.
Yep.
The same thing happens in China. So you walk around the mall and there'll just be shirts and merchandise of just random English words that make zero sense.
Yeah, it's the combination of them that absolutely makes no sense. That's why I was worried about the last word. That could have gone any single direction.
And no one would have stopped him getting to stage with it.
That is the best. I need to ask him where he got that one from. I'll tell you right now.
I'll be for later. You get in there, Raz. I believe in you. But let's get into this matchup with FPX and WE for Champion Select. It is Sion and Galio for FPX opening this one up. So double mid lane bans technically can also be a top lane ban for the Sion there. And Camille and Tamkench and Olaf from WE.
Here's the thing. 16 different champions that Cool has gone towards in the last split. Has so much he can go in towards his arsenal, but his most played picks would be the Orianna and the Cassiopeia. So those are two picks you can actually hold going into the second phase, because no one throws bans towards either champ until you go into second phase bans. So I wonder what Cool would love to pick here.
Well, one of the most picked champions for WE just taken off the table in the form of Xayah in the top 3 there for WE. First pick of the Jarvan and an instant response of Rise for Cool.
There we go. Immediately going towards the mid lane pick in the meta. Let's see what he can go towards in this one, because he doesn't have that good of a win ratio on the champion, but that's probably because the majority of his games when it came to it was when he was playing on LGD and Newbie, and those teams were in a struggling position.
Now, going to upset some of those win rates, but in terms of his laning phase, very good. In terms of how he's performing in lane, also very good to match. So Alistair will go down to Crisp in the bottom lane, and Braum we picked up for WE for Celestial here. We'll see what the second pick on this rotation will be.
Yeah, we saw the graph coming through on the desk. Braum being the pick WE love. Doesn't matter who their support is. Celestial, Ben, Zero, pick the Braum for themselves. They love it. Creates the skirmishing potential on the bottom side of the map. Great protection as well. Slows teamfights down and put it at their own pace.
A pick from Cool, but also a pick from Shie. It will be Cassiopeia into the mid lane for him, playing into the Rise. He already knows what it is, so Cassiopeia, of course, plays very well into the Rise.
This is going to be the first test for Cool to look towards his own jungler and see how their synergy is, because Cool and Pepper need to focus towards mid lane. Cassiopeia is a great matchup into the Rise, and if left alone, Rise will have a lot of troubles sitting in the lane, not getting poked down, not getting thrown around by the Twin Fang. So I want to see how that works up early on.
And now we know the 2v2. It's Kha'Zix, Rise, and the Jarvan and Cassiopeia in the mid lane and jungle for both of these two teams. And, you know, Shea has definitely been playing up recently, and I would say that Magic definitely knows how to revolve around the mid lane. He's like, I know how to do one thing, and that's gank. Where should I gank? Mid lane. So it will be something that we'll have to see from FPX. Can they stand up to this?
Oh, 100%. It's really funny about Magic in his career, in the LSPL that is that he's been playing through either invading topside jungle, ganking mid lane for ZBB, or trying to go top lane. So like he knows this style. So when he first came into the split, and there were some bumpy roads, he was immediately like, mid lane gank? Mid lane gank. That's been his style. So I want to see if he gets that cheeky level 2 that we know Jarvan for, or maybe he tries to play a little slower pace.
FPX have basically just banned out the last meta of top laners in both Gnar and Gangplank here against 957. And WB will also remove Gimgoon's Fiora. Let's see if there's another top lane ban. It's more, what don't you want to play against, more than we can ban Gimgoon out, because he can literally go anywhere. And Tristana will be the final ban against LWX.
I'm not going to lie, he's probably going to flick Vladimir. Like, he's just... Gimgoon does not care about what lane. Like, it's honestly, I don't even know what you're trying to do, Pulse. Like, you thought he cares about what lane he picks into? The man picks Vladimir no matter what.
Everything.
He's like, bad lane matchup, Vladimir. Good lane matchup, Vladimir. So the big reason for it is that even if he's behind in CS, which he is consistently, even though FPX find themselves with wins, he will still be behind in laning phase. His team fighting is phenomenal. So he'll find, it's like Amazing J, where he'll find a great team fight. Is that literally just saying Celestial?
Yep.
Excellent. And he'll be able to get those flanks perfectly. So flank pressure is real with the Vladimir. That being said, I want to see a real AD carry, like a bit, yeah, I guess Caitlyn, I was about to say Vayne, something that's LWX-esque because they have a lot of AP on that team.
Yeah, just to double down on that point, he's approximately down at 500 gold at 15 in every single lane matchup, in average across all games he's played this season on Vladimir. Yep. So it's every single time is going to be to Vladimir if it's left open.
Every game he's like, just keep picking it for me no matter what. Don't even counter pick. Yeah, sure, we're on red side. Yeah, we've already picked our mid lane pick. I'm blind picking Vladimir, so our AD carry gets... It makes no sense, but he'll still do it.
Yeah, LWX, do you want last pick? I mean, sure. I don't really know why. It was like, great, you've got it. Last pick, Caitlyn, let's go. Priority Varus coming in for WE, and it is also the Cho'Gath going into the Vladimir on top side. So automatically, good matchup for 957.
Yeah, it is. So WE is going to be looking towards their two good matchups, which is Caitlyn, not Caitlyn, Cassiopeia, and the top lane in Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath's going to do quite well. It's going to be able to get the silence and chunk off. I wonder what rune he's going to be running. We'll find out soon enough. Mid lane is going to have a good push as well. So J4, once again, we talked about Magic's style. He's going to be topside. That's it for him. Bottom lane should be safe.
And for me, for FPX, it's really going to be about the synergy. And this guy that you see right now, it's cool. How is he going to interact with this team? How's the synergy? How is he going to interact with Pepper? Is he going to be able to group up correctly with his team? Because those are the big questions.
Yeah, and one thing that he was really good at on Newbie and LGD was moving around the map. He was really good at connecting the dots. So now that he has a little bit of a help in being the Rise, having that ulti, so he can move around a little bit more easier, hope he utilizes it, because Cassiopeia is going to have priority in pushing potential. So she's going to push him in. I wonder if Cassiopeia is going to move, but if she doesn't, Cool will. So we might see early skirmishes much more frequent now that he's on the team with FunPlus Mix.
Exactly. Let's see how well he does with the team coming in here. Team WE as well. Definitely been recovering over the last couple of weeks with the addition of Magic and Celestial, but have started to claw some wins back and are still in playoff contention right now, even with BRG. Another win here would put them ahead of Bilibili Gaming and make their playoff run even easier. But for FPX, they want to challenge for that 4th spot. It's got to be here today. Getting a win against W would be massive for them. Let's see if they can do it as we head onto Summoner's Rift.
There we go. Flash the stats. You don't even get to see it. You don't have fast enough eyes.
You didn't
bet
see
on you.
anything.
That's what happens,
Smile
man.
and wave, boys.
You need to check your eyes. Or check your screenshotting mechanics.
Yeah. Well, luckily, if you're on YouTube, you can just rewind that one. But taking a look at the crowd, most of the front row are just all cool fans, so that's good to see.
They're fast on the field. Now, of course, Shie's 300th game. Congratulations to him. Hopefully it's a win. Usually when we flash these stats, they end up being a loss. Let's not make it that being the case. Don't want to celebrate a loss here. But you're right. Cool's been bringing in a lot of fans, and here's the thing about it. This announcement came through pretty early on that Cool was on the team, but we expected him to be a support. That's what the rumor mill said. That he said he's been pretty vocal about him joining FPX. He's coming in as a mid laner, which I'm much more thankful of. I think Chris is fine.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. 300 games to the duo, Shie and Mystic in the bottom lane. And the mid lane.
Pretty much means that since he joined the team, he was with Mystic. That's the stat.
Yeah. Yeah, not so long ago when it was Connie and Ben were still on the team, it was stats were coming up and it was just like for the whole team. But now the family's broken apart and we've got Magic and Celestial coming in. It's all being changed up. 957's the third move.
But yeah, it's funny too, because like CA and Mystic were the OGs in a sense of being on the team when they were still bad. Right, everybody remembers 2015,
Yeah.
IEM, 10th place team joining, I think the last place team, WE, joining IEM. Who did they bring in? They brought in CA and Mystic. And that was the two teams.
Yeah.
Like, every other role was different. So it's pretty cool to see these two players remain on the team and for them to have so much success.
Exactly. Last bit was massive success for them, for sure. Of course, making it to the World Championship and having a pretty good run themselves as well. Just taking a look at some of these. Wow, we are just stats after stats here,
boom,
Raz.
boom, boom.
I want to talk about the keystones, though. 957 has the spellbook in the top lane here.
Yeah, I questioned that going into this one if he was going to pick up Spellbook or if he was going to pick up the usual Resolve tree. Not going to pick up Resolve just because, yeah, sure, if you get in melee range of Vlad, that's great. But having Ignite for yourself is so much more impressive. That just means that he's going to have a lot more ability to trade in the lane with the Doran rings that he has.
So engage there from Crisp, following up with the final Piltover in from LWX. We'll get the trade down onto Mystic as well.
Talk about a bad trade for WE. Sure, Celestial is just fine, but it's going to be LWX constantly trading up on a low HP Mystic. So doesn't have any potions to himself. Meanwhile, LWX has lifesteal of Doran's Blade and 1 potion to his name.
What the jungle is doing. Pepper's going for an invade, as he is wont to do, but in the bottom side, Magic is looking for a gank, a lane gank, no less, and he's not looking towards mid or top lane. He's actually looking to try and help out the bottom lane. However, Chris was taking this opportunity to ward. He is suspecting a gank, but not from that angle, and looks like Magic is just going to go back.
There we go. You have to start expecting that gank, especially since Pepper did a good thing in looking for that invade. Sure, he gets the raw gold of Grump, but also LWX knows that top side's been clear. He's not top side. He should be on the bottom side of the map. And if mid lane is basing, so Cool's not going to be under threat, it's going to be us. So just hunker down. Alistar sent a ward out, so that was great. But that also meant that Caitlyn just really had to play it safe.
Relatively standard stuff coming in from Pepper. Domination first, Ultra second, going for Gathering Storm.
I want to talk about Celerity a little bit, because Celerity on Kha'Zix is phenomenal, just because you get about 13 extra damage with the fact that you get boots of mobility and the ulti you pick up. Okay.
Celestial is actually maybe just going to die here. LWX, will he flash in? What's LWX? And I'm surprised that he did not use his flash ability, and Celestial will get out of there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Cool, about to be ganked by Mystic, but the flag and drag goes a little bit short. Empowered Rune Prison comes down, but is not in range of the tower.
Yeah, the shield blocks that. I want to see the bottom lane a little bit more, because Celestial, I think he got minion blocked into a trap. So the trap definitely happened, but I felt like he just couldn't escape because he was surrounded by minions. Oh, that's why I want to see it one more time, because my God, he got blown up.
Yeah, he definitely got mugged by those minions right there. Pepper, we're going to locate Magic in the jungle, follow up with those Void Spikes, send him packing.
Who wants to be a millionaire? It seems like Magic was fast on his fingers to get out of that situation. I wouldn't have expected Pepper to jump on me, but apparently he did.
What does that have to do with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Fast fingers? That was the first thing you did. If like there would be 13 people or something who would want to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the person who has the fastest fingers gets to join. It was really early on in the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they threw it out because you would have 10 people be like, I just joined the show and I'm not actually playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm just here to lose in fastest fingers.
Wait, were you talking about the English one with, was it Chris Tennant, or the American one?
No, the only one that existed which had Regis Philbin. After he's gone, there's no such thing as that show.
Lies. Total lies. Anyway, Magic is still in his jungle trying to contest his Raptors right here. Pepper also in his own side, taking his own Raptors. It was actually cool getting the push in mid lane, who was able to just step up and see Magic doing them.
He's been trading really well in the matchup. He did it really early on. I was surprised by it. This was, I'm talking about before the gank came through. I think Cool's trading has been nice. That being said, he does not want to get continuously hit by that. His trading only works if he's able to not get hit by those Qs. That being said, that's why boots are pretty important in the matchup. Surprised to get boots, then he should be a little bit easier just to dodge him out.
So Mystic's going to get the push off here and go for his preferential back timing here. Crisp, of course, is going to just push up and see if he can get a cheeky stop on the recall. Magic is also doing the same, just trying to recall in a safe spot. And Pepper, relative control around the mid lane right now, but he is going to be spotted out by this ward, so Shie will not get caught out by any shenanigans.
Yeah, ward spots him out, and Shie just leans to the top side just because 3 people basing on the bottom side of the map. There's no reason to be leaning to a side that's absolutely weak, so really strong understanding of the map from Shie.
We haven't really seen the 2v2 evolve just yet. Both junglers have been, for the most part, matching each other. Pepper's going to pick up his red buff here, second one of the game, and we'll be moving towards that level 6.
I'm actually surprised. Varus Didn't base in that instance. He actually canceled his base because he was really close, maybe to 2 items. Because I think he should have had enough for recurve, though.
See. I was going for tabbies here.
Can't
recurve maybe?
Tabbies.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, recurve into pickaxe. Sorry,
yeah,
that makes more sense.
Thank God, because like I was thinking recurve into something else. Can't be blasting one, so pickaxe made sense. If he just went armor boots, I think that he wouldn't have the gold to go into recurve bow. He really needed.
No, he'd get pickaxe because recurve bow and tabby are approximately the same.
Same gold, yeah. So you definitely need recurve bow just for the trading pattern. You're going to be relying on your 3-hit passive on W, and then your hail of arrows really reliable, especially into Caitlyn. You have some range into that. If you don't have that, then you just don't have damage. Apologize, that's a bad decision.
But he's corrected it. He's got it now. He's got pickaxe and recurve bow, so he's able to push up in lane. And Magic is going to be taking his own red buff, but he's pretty much just been on wards at all times. I feel like FPX have done a pretty good job of tracking where Magic has been in this early game. Pepper's already got his level 6, so he's actually beating Magic to the punch, who's just gotten his own. He's actually pathing towards the top side of the map now, and we'll see if Pepper's going to move towards bot lane or just continue farming his jungle.
Yeah, it's been a really good game for Pepper. And thankfully he has the proper skin that showcases that he did evolve his ulti. So there we have it. That means that not only is ahead of the pace in farm, ahead of the pace I believe in levels, he's just maybe half a level ahead. That should mean that he should be able to get these ganks off properly. This is going to be difficult, and it relies on Chris getting a flash, I believe.
Yeah, Chris is pushing into the bush now. If he can just get in range of one of these players, that would be fantastic. But an instant ward comes out from Celestial, actually. So it means even if they clear the control ward, Pepper will not be able to sneak into that lane. So he has to back away.
Yeah, good call, good call. Rise was in on the play as well, so you can see where the communication is like really good on Cool. Had a control wards to his side, so every time he pushed out, he was leaning on the play, so it wouldn't just be a 3-man play, which we're used to from FPX, it would be a 4-man.
I'm just looking towards the farm as well in terms of the top lane, because Gimgoon, while he's kind of down in health, he's Spider-Man, he's just going to get a bunch of health back anyway. He's actually around even, if not ahead in farm right now, so maybe it's all the experience of picking himself into these bad matchups. Now he knows exactly how the Vladimir Cho'Gath matchups work, so he's able to just at least equalize it, but he'll be heading towards the 10-15 minute mark, approximately even in terms of gold.
Yeah, God bless, man. Decided, you know what? I've got enough training into this one. I've been in the darkness for long enough. Not completely out of the woodworks just yet, because Cho'Gath does very well into Vladimir later on in the team fight, because Vladimir wants to be able to weave spells, E, Q, of course, wanting to combine his E with his pool so he can get a larger AoE off it, or at least not going to have anything block him. Problem with that is that if you get silenced, it's going to be a lot more awkward.
Yeah, that's the pain when you get into later on into the game as well, for sure. W are able to push up in the bottom lane, so they'll also get the luxury of taking down the crab while pushing back into the bottom lane. And LPX hasn't really achieved a massive advantage against his Varus. It's about equal in terms of farm in the bottom lane, mid lane, and top lane. In fact, the gold difference is barely anything, 100, 200 gold at maximum for both teams. And First Dragon's also a Cloud Dragon, so neither team is really looking to try and gun that one down as fast as possible. And we're getting an FPX who's making it through the early game.
Yeah,
that being said, it's into WE.
That's real. I mean, yeah, sure. That's true. And WE is a team fighting team. That's
correct.
Great from them. But I would say it's a good start for FPX. The fact that their early game has been so strong, or at least has been evened up with the likes of WE. And not only is it evened up, it's evened up in a composition where we expected them to be behind in top side and mid lane.
And she completely caught out right here, turns around, good stun down onto Cole, he'll flash away, but another flash from Pepper, catches him, who takes their fear.
Really well done from Pepper, knew that there's one distress signal Cassio's going to be sending out, and he was able to just look away.
Pepper under attack, flag drag, Magic's found him, plus Celestial coming in, they lock him down, both the new members of WE.
That's awkward, he knew that Celestial was there because an ulti came through, so why is he sticking around if his own bottom lane based? Maybe just basic communication saying Cool should be with me, but that's just like, if he is not, then don't push up forward. So regardless of communication, you should know where your own teammates are.
Yeah, unfortunate, WE strike back and make that a 1-for-1 trade. Both junglers actually the ones to pick up those kills, so Jarm gets one, Pepper gets the other on Kha'Zix, and that's also the Skirmish to Saber. Alongside that, Warriors in chat for Pepper, while it looks like Magic is going towards Cinderhawk on his job. And we get to see that again. So Pepper, honestly not a lot of time to react this year.
Don't look at me. Not even a glance. Blasts him up, and that's the thing. Here's where the criticism comes through. I guess we're not going to even look at him. We're not going to look at Pepper making the wrong decision. I think,
Cut
you know
the
what?
tape on that one.
Yeah, we don't need to see it.
Just a mistake in the end, pushing into the jungle a little bit too deep without Cool.
great mechanically from Pepper immediately, recognizing that Shie was going to send it at his ulti, and just great positioning, surrounding their own wards so that, sure, Cassio wants to be able to clear him out, but she's not going to be able to without her own.
And FPX, just to hit back on that point, you know, FPX managed to get back into the early game, managed to get through that phase, and I feel like this is the culmination of the training arc that they went on, which was the cross-conference play, where they went through and it's like, let's not just be a team that runs at the opponent in the first 5 minutes of the game and then loses or wins in the first 5 minutes of the game. Let's actually have an early game and then actually play out the mid-game. And FPX, it seems like all of that has carried through back to their own conference. We're seeing it now against WE, where they're actually playing it smart in the early game. Pepper isn't 0-5 or 5-0. He's actually 1-1 and 0.
Yeah, I haven't seen this coming out of Pepper for quite some time. He's had some good games, but we often talk about him, you're right, like just kind of looking for impulsive ganks and coming out behind because strategically he has a bad matchup and he gets like, all right, actually I should have just been farming in this situation. This time around he has a good matchup, sure, so it's an easier decision to make, but he's still making the right one.
Magic going to get revealed on this ward, so know exactly where he is, so Pepper's going to have that information as he moves towards the top side, and he's already taken Herald as we just saw, so he's going to take this one for free since he knows where Magic is. And Pepper will be able to dump this into lane. So that's a little bit of timing there because there is no objective on the bottom side that we were like, we really want to trade this for.
Yeah, and honestly right now, Pepper's just trying to be as patient as possible before he gets 2 items, which is Duskblade and Boost Mobility. He has Boost Mobility now. That's going to be great. It works really well with the fact that his ulti gives him a movement speed boost, and he has Celerity, so I already talked about him getting the extra 13 damage on top of the burst of Duskblade. Doesn't have it just yet, but gonna feel good now that he has.
Cool, getting contested on this one. Blue buff's very low. Who's it gonna go over to? Celestial. Was not expecting that one, but in comes the Realm Warp. Cool is not happy about them taking his blue buff. In comes LWX as well. Gonna line up the shot, but punts it out of the way. It's still gonna go down. Xie falls, betrayed it to his life with Gimgoon. And now Magic, nice double ultimate coming in, locking in Pepper into the pin. He's gonna fall as Cool and Chris go back to the tower. Celestial on the chase, but he'll turn this one around. It's a 1-for-2 trade.
Yeah, FPX definitely lost more members. I think they should have cut it loose the moment they exchanged blues right back to Cool. So Cool getting the kill onto Cassio. Fantastic. I guess Gimgoon doubling down on the play made it so they needed to look for the team fight win. Didn't work out.
Did not. Turned into a blue buff contest in the end. Is that Cool actually with his blue buff in the end? Did he manage to...
Yeah, he got it. Yeah.
Buff transfer complete.
So take a look at this one because I loved it coming out of Chris specifically. So Realm Warp in there, Chris readies up, goes Super Saiyan, so he's able to get the double, I think he gets double knockoff. He just wait, okay, so he just gets Xie. So literally just separates Xie so Cool can get the kill, but by the time that they're ready to go for the rest of the fight, 4-man strong WE already nets the kill on Vladimir Kazi.
Yeah, well, Cool, I believe, got Xie's blue buff there because Celestial still survived at the end of the fight.
Right.
So yeah, it's like, well, it couldn't be from there. So he definitely got the refresh on that one. Crisp coming in from behind, but Magic is here. Oh, he messed up the flag and drag. The basic combination of Jarvan, and that means Xie's just going to die.
Yeah, we don't pay attention to those mechanics. Not at all. The only mechanic that matters is the headbutt followed by Chris. Yeah, that was unfortunate. That was unlucky. Because that was a good call from Xie, being able to send the Miasma out on Alistar to delay the time for Magic to get the knockup. That would have been great. Alistar's in a bad position. But it didn't happen. Because the flag drag didn't work too.
Straight unfortunate right there. And that will be the mid lane tower taking very much a beating from the Herald after that one, and she also died. However, WE are able to keep this one alive, so FPX will not break the mid tower, but they do also get a bunch of time on the top lane tower with Gimgoon. So he's going to get ahead on the top lane. Cool's going to get more damage on the mid lane unless Magic reacts to this one. I'm actually surprised they didn't keep someone around. So that's going to be even more damage on this tower.
If Kha'Zix had moved in, I think that would have been a kill tower. That was a cannon wave that should have been communicated. Maybe it was, but ultimately they didn't get the tower. They're going to have to come back for it.
Still no towers down, but there's a good advantage now for FPX across the board. So a lot of towers that can fall in quick succession if they make it happen. Ryze pretty much gotten through his own item build as well. He has the Catalyst going into the Archangel Staff. Top lane doing the same with Protobelt, but Gimgoon hasn't gone towards his Remnant item this game. Usually he rushes that one, but he's actually decided to go towards the Protobelt instead this time. And a bit of trade in the top lane as well.
There we go. And what's fun about this one, at this pace of the game, is that it's centered around who has the numbers advantage. Gimgoon has TP of 957 taps TP. They're about to have TP soon enough. So the control wards in bottom side mean so much for the lane ganks and for the TP flank. Thankfully, WE, Mystic, and Celestial stayed long enough to get the control ward from FPX in their own bush, But the moment LWX and Chris came back to lane, they were able to take the same, actually. In fact, I don't even think they left. I think they stayed long enough to get the enemy control ward as well. So there's a low-key control ward battle happening in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think so. Also looking towards Mystic now, we're talking about bottom lane. Grinsu's Rage Bait has been completed, so without too many difficulties out of laning phase, plus he's picked up the Tabby, so Mystic is in a quite good situation to move into this next fight here.
What's funny is that LWX went towards the crit cloak instead of the pickaxe. Pickaxe is just consistent damage. He's literally just rolling the dice every time he sends out an auto attack.
He's a gambling man, but maybe it'll work out for him. Run comes into the top lane from FPX, but just deciding to place down the control ward more than anything else, just allow Gimgoon and 957 to have their alone time in top lane and move back towards the mid lane. Try and knock down this mid lane tower because it is on barely 200 HP right now.
Really anything can do it. I think they should be paying attention to LWX rotating. Right now he's technically doing it. In fact, he's doing it just because he got to push in the mid lane. I wonder if, no, I guess he's not fully committing. They're just trying to get the wards onto the riverside. So that's important, just because WE needs to hold LWX in lane at all costs or that mid lane tower goes down. They're doing a good enough job at just that. Bottom lane wave sticking there. Jarvan's always in between lanes, so good job from Magic so far.
Pepper's moving into the mid lane here. Completely dodged the vision out, so Magic didn't even know he was there. Now he does.
The thing about boost mobility is that you can just dodge into each push. Doesn't matter if it's a long one. Uh-oh, get out of there.
What, Magic's seen him now for sure, plus there's a ward over the wall. Flag drag jumped away from by Pepper. Chris was also coming down just in case there was a bit of a ruckus around the river.
Yeah,
She will return.
Pepper got chunked out just because that's an instant proc on electrocute. Sucks for him.
And the blue contest is going to be picked up by Pepper right here, but Chris was coming for the engage already. Alice against a double knockup, and in comes the teleport as well from the blue side. Celestial already down from Cool. Coming in for the re-engage right now, and Cool's going to drop himself. A 1-for-1 trade as LWX is kiting back, looking for these traps to try and keep WE penned in right now in the jungle of FPX.
Gimgoon's just trying to keep him in.
But they're all split right now. They can't really go in for a full-on engage. And what are you trying to guide them towards? Mystic is low. Nice little static shift proc. Pepper over the wall. He's looking for the assassinate. Knock him onto the Cho'Gath. Jumps into Chris, who knocks him back with the blast cone. That's going to be Pepper falling underneath WE. It's 1 by 1. But can Gimgoon be the hero right here? Lands the Hemo play. But now he's trapped.
Oh.
Cataclysm saved. But he does get that 1 kill. A 1-for-1 trade, but a 3-for-1 overall.
My God, I feel like FPX really tunneled in to try and get a kill onto Mystic. Mystic was under a proper formation of WE. Good TP coming in from 957, just to allow him to get the safety. They killed 2 people who were just trying their hardest to get on top of Mystic.
It was a really impressive play by WE though. They kind of brought up the guard, the phalanx in front of Mystic and waded their way out of heavy waters. That was an interesting round walk there, mate. But Cool will flash away, have to burn a summoner. Mid lane tower goes down after all of that as well to WE. Let's take a look at that prolonged fight one more time.
Yeah, this was at the end. The moment they tried to get straight on top of Mystic, Mystic immediately flashes out. Really well done from him. Sure, he dies at the end, but at this point, everyone just seems to try and go for him. And he's just getting so well protected by his own team. I didn't think this would be enough damage to kill him. Apparently it was.
That was over 300 damage from just Hemoplague. Usually, Hemoplague itself does not do the damage, it's the Tides of Blood and the Transfusion that does the damage, but apparently he has enough AP. I guess he went for the Predabot first instead of going for Remnant, so he has the extra AP to make it hurt.
There we go.
And overall, mid lane tower goes down for WE, so they get the first tower of the game, despite FPX having all of that set up onto mid lane and top lane. But FPX did manage to get the consolation prize of a Mountain Dragon in the end. So next dragon will be Cloud, but overall, WE do take the small gold lead in this game.
Yeah, that's why. Sure, WE can benefit from getting a second Cloud, but usually this would mean change in priority. Baron being up 21 minutes into the game with a Cassiopeia in the game means that everyone's focus gets shifted straight towards it. One team doesn't want the enemy team to have a Varus Cassio Baron run, which is very quick. The other team is, well, we definitely want to speed it up, so that's why it's going to mean a lot more, especially the mid lane towers being down.
FPX still in a position to contest though. They still have their top lane tower here, even though mid lane is down. Just means that WE more confident to push in and spread their vision unless they happen to both place a control ward in the same brush.
Yeah, they need to. Right now, Varus needs to be a little bit patient. Wait for Braum and Jarvan. Jarvan's making his way up.
Chris was already looking for the initiate right here, but in comes Cool trying to blindside this bottom lane. Magic returns, looking for the Cataclysm. Cool is already low, but no one else is there to deal the damage. He's got the shield. Flashing away is Magic rather. But he'll get out of there and eventually fall over. It was Mystic who was able to escape from that one.
Yeah,
but Magic still dies.
Good counter to the counter. Because that was initially set up by FPX. They didn't expect Jarvan to come in, but the root coming down from Pepper made it so much easier. Mystic.
Uh-oh. He's still in the shadows. No one even knows he's here.
You don't see nothing.
It's okay, he's going to get back to base. It was perhaps going to be bad if they instantly started off the Baron, but they didn't know where the Kha'Zix was. Gimgoon, however, while all that was happening, was in bot lane. Didn't have teleport to turn up to the play, didn't have flash either, so just take the bottom lane tower. So it was a kill for a tower, and a tower.
The next item for Vladimir is going to be important. I wonder how close he is to Zhonya's Hourglass. Once he gets to Zhonya's, his team fighting is going to be so much more important because he can just buy so much time for his team. Doesn't necessarily have to deal the damage. Can just get immediately exhausted by Celestial, and it'll still be useful just because he can go into Zhonya's, have the next rotation of his cooldown up. So how Vladimir plays out the next two team fights is going to be pretty important.
Yeah, we didn't need more proof that FPX are looking towards later into the game now and not just rolling the die on the early game. Oh, it's fine. How much? 7 HP?
7.
It's still alive. That's what counts. 3 members of FPX have taken Gathering Storm this game, top, jungle, and ADC. So they are very much geared towards the late game if we get there.
The thing about this now is that for AD carry, it's a lot more, I would say, frequent to pick up Gathering Storm. It's just base damage that you can get that's extra for you. Also, going into Sorcery secondary is just more AD, more AP as well if you go primary first.
Yep.
Used to be going into Domination, but it's just 1 extra less AD, which is funny enough, just a 1 AD difference. But also if you go into Gathering Storm, that's just more base damage. So that's a positive you can get off of it.
It would be nice. However, we're 24 minutes into the game, so it's going to be the smallest of extra AD and AP that you're going to be getting from the Gathering Storm. Not going to have a 90-minute game, I expect, with these two teams in the game. WE, you know, I want to stall, like the old WE, definitely very good at stalling. It's not going to happen, Raz. You're leaning forwards, but the Castamines aren't going to reach the Tower of Cassiopeia there.
I just want someone to flash in for the auto attack. Doesn't have to be logical. Just want it.
It's essentially standing guard here for FPX, but knocking down that mid tower will give them a bit more breathing room. It's almost a mentality thing at this point because it's like, well, the mid lane tower's up, but it's not really because it is so low. It's literally at 7 HP, so... Ooh, that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's too bad that Pepper's nowhere near this lane. Pepper should dart straight towards the top side the moment he bases. I wonder, he should have his... Yeah, he has Dust Blade. That's his power spike.
Just stepping up, and now ZWX is poking away. Braum being the hero, keeping the tower alive, and we have 2 towers, top lane and mid lane. What is that on? That's probably single digits as well.
just click it. Please click it. Yeah, 84.
84 and then 7 in the mid lane. FPX literally just need to walk up and blow on it, and both towers will fall.
Someone's going to get baited by it. It's either the team trying to defend it or the team trying to just tunnel on the tower. I think it's the team that's going to tunnel on the tower that gets burned. My guess. Yeah, Jarvan. Sure, Cassio's not going to be there, but the Jarvan ulti is all I'm really asking for.
I just get antsy when I see a player like Pepper who is very much impulsive. Like, yes, he's reined himself in. He's fought against his natural instincts in the last couple of weeks, but it's still there. The beast is still inside, Rand. Pepper will see it and he's like, now is my time.
Oh, this cannot, please.
This is close.
Nah.
GA, can he defend it? The 1v8 right here. And GA, not going to happen. 1 auto attack came in, and the top tower's dead as well.
There we go. It's funny, too.
We're saved.
CA had proper assignments on who he wanted to kill. There was one melee minion that was making a break for the tower, but he killed it. But for whatever reason, you know, mage minions, OP. Doesn't matter. They're so random, actually. You just don't know who they're going to auto. You go right up towards it, and you're like, nah, I'm hitting the person behind.
Yeah, minions have... Sometimes they have very strange priorities on who they want to hit, but... They got the tower, mission success. Good job, mid lane minions. Top tower also fell to FPX. So that's actually a pretty big influx of gold over to them. Now swings to gold lead, 2,000 gold in an advantage now.
It's a major influx of gold, but primarily it's like finally they get a chance to push their control wards up because all of their wards have been within their own jungle, so it hides Pepper's movements. But now they can push that up to legitimately just the river of Baron. They're finally moving up now along with Crisp. But it's just been stalled out for that long just because W's been protecting those towers.
Now, what's your opinion on Spellbinder when equal in the game? Because we saw Spellbinder last series and it was very much a snowballing mid lane Rise, but now we have Cool picking up on Rise here, but they're around equal in this game.
I think it's good just because it also benefits from the movement speed that you get. so it sets up plays for trying to jump on towards Magic or Mystic. You get that burst of movement speed along with a burst of damage. It's very helpful specifically for the Rise. My biggest question whenever it came to Spellbinder is that it feels impractical to proc it, just because you need to be a real Spellweaver, and sometimes like there's just not a lot of champions that fit down that kind of road. So crack the numbers later on, but Rise and Evelyn seem to be the two champions that do quite well, but even Evelyn you probably don't want it. So I would say just the Rise pick.
We hardly ever see Evelyn as well. Sometimes we see it on Cassiopeia, but here comes the engage. Round Wolf blindsiding Celestial and Xie, but cool. I'm not sure what he was planning out of right there.
It's not as slow. I think he went over the Miasma initially because he tried to flash over the Miasma.
Yeah.
I think he got slowed by that would. I guess we wouldn't replay something that dumb, but but I just love to see if he was able to get slowed by it.
I believe the lingering slow is like less than 0.25 seconds though on Miasma.
Yeah, that's maybe fair, but anything just so you can get the one W, one snare. This must have been the Rylai's, but either way, he got slowed, and he just wanted to snare man. Didn't work.
No, it wasn't because he was nowhere close, but I appreciate the sentiment there. Cool. Close enough. Close enough. But now he's double summoned us down is the point we're getting at, so that's pretty major heading into a fight if that opens up around the Baron here.
Right now, I don't know why Caitlyn... Okay, Caitlyn's actually doing red buff. I thought she was doing rap buff, so... They just need mid lane push. It can't be Kha'Zix and Alistar. That's far too unsafe. Caitlyn's just that ability to do that. As long as they have top lane and mid lane push, they can contest the river wards that are currently being taken away by WE. Sure, you have no summons on Cool, but I think they can still push up for those wards without the summoner spells as long as they have the wave control.
We've got the Vladimir pushing in the bottom lane. Crisp is walking up, trying to defend his hard-earned wards, but WE able to move into jungle here and clear them out. Top wave is going to be pushed in as well by WE.
WE can just do it. They have a lot of damage with the Cassio, Varus, and they have the burn potential of the ulti from Cho'Gath. So they shouldn't feel too worried about being smite stolen.
I mean, right now, Smite, the indecision to actually go towards the Baron means that Gimgoon's going to get a bunch of time on this tower. Knocks the inner tower down to half health, and 957 actually comes to respond in the bottom lane. They both have teleports, so they will be able to arrive, but WE are more concerned about moving towards the mid lane and not actually just going balls to the wall and starting it.
Yeah, you're right. There's indecisiveness, because ultimately they lose the wards that they were able to work so hard for, at least some of them. Some of those wards, they're reclaiming it now. They don't have Cho'Gath now. Cho'Gath is stuck in the bottom side of the map, so if they start it, then the smite potential is still there.
Again, clearing out the wards. So many wards have died over the last minute. Aldurex pushing in the mid lane, trying to get control of these mini waves. Bot lane has been now abandoned, and in comes the engage because Gimgoon is close. Chris comes in for this one, double knock up. Magic turns around, looks for the assassinate on Pepper, and right now Chris is just trying to stay alive so his team can deal with the damage, but 957 gets the teleport off, and he's a bigger tank than the Alistar right now. Cool trapped in the 1 versus 1, but that's a big Hemo playing out from the Vladimir. LWX, can he supply the rest of the damage? They're all so very low. Can they turn this one around? Pepper looking for the assassinate onto Mystic, blocked up by 957. Gimgoon and LWX that chased him into the jungle. They're all so low.
A static shift proc would just kill Magic alone. They're trying to run away from the Caitlyn.
I think they've made enough distance right now. 957 has the Warmog, so at least their front line will be able to get healthy again. Mystic is actually life-stealing off this minion wave while the rest of the team goes back to base.
That's insanity. The fact that Gimgoon was not in a flank position, was trying to find some use while being at the front, while Celestial was blocking so much damage with 2 rotations of his own Braum wall. Though so much damage was taken out of LWX just because Braum was just in the front of that.
Yeah, props to the front lines of both teams, to be honest, because they were just holding the fort down. Chris was standing in front of 5 people, just trying to get the damage down from LWX.
Look at this. The ulti, the wall comes through, so LWX throwing down trap after trap, chunking down Celestial. Magic and Mystic, so healthy for so long. Once again, look at Celestial. Moves up, and sure, you can think that FPX have an opportunity to jump in right again. That was a great ulti from Xie. But the Braum wall coming through was able to block a lot out.
This is not a replay, we're just jumping back to live on this one. Again, a big Hemo play, but not engaging fully on this one. A breakable will to use by Chris, so he's going to be useless after this. But Magic deeps way too deep, or jumps in way too deep and dies to the hands of LWX. Pepper coming from the backside, slowing down the retreat of WE. Can FPX catch up in time? Cool coming in from the side, but not going to happen.
Yeah, that was a poor mistake coming out of Magic. Ultimately, they could have tanked up the Vladimir ulti, because the Locket of the Iron Solari coming out of the Celestial is able to take the entire damage off, because Vladimir wasn't able to follow up with any real follow-up damage to intensify that ulti damage. So unfortunate for Magic, because had they just stood their ground, did not try to go for the EQ there, he would have been alive. Vladimir would have been useless.
But in the end, Jarvan did in fact die, though the 4-man of WE are moving back towards this area. The crab vision is there, so FPX will know if they try to start it, but at the very least they will manage to clear out a bunch of that vision. Next dragon will be Mountain, so it is a small objective that both teams would want, but for now, the Baron is unkilled.
FPX are feeling pretty confident right now. Look at the minion wave in the bottom lane, but before we do that, let's look at the actual replay itself. Gimgoon is going to look for this. Wonder what at one point he sends out his ulti. He's not going to follow it up because the Braum Wall comes through, blocks out quite a bit of damage, and the Locket out of Iron Solari. So who are you chasing, man? That's the only thing I'm wondering, because if that had not happened, WE as a team holistically took 0 damage from that Vladimir.
Because Celestial's been playing so well this game. Braum Wall's in the last play and this play as well, just blocking so much damage from FPX. But so just misalignment.
So WE as a team loves the Braum pick. Feels like in team fights, the ulti is so strong. Utility of the slow means that you can just disengage out of most things. If you utilize the knock up, if you get a proper flash, it's a great form of engage as well. So Celestial's been playing out the slow portion of the team fight well, just blocking out the damage. We haven't seen too much of the engage, but we have seen a lot from the disengage.
And it has to be mostly the disengage, because it has, for the most part, been FPX engaging on WE in this game. So Mountain Dragon has spawned. Cool is in the area. LPX is going to get his red buff. We'll see if, yeah, Cool's probably just going to start this one up by himself. He's also got the assistance of Pepper coming down, but with the blue buff, should be able to take this one by himself.
Good call. It changes up the focus. So much focus on the top side of the map for so long. All the vision control up there. Nothing on the bottom side of the map to catch this out. That's double Earth Dragon for the side of FPX. So if they ever get the opportunity to be on top of it, they can burn down Baron quickly.
Yeah, it has to be them onto it first, though, because so far, WE have generally had control over the Baron Pit and have been the ones to try and draw FPX into a bad fight, having to run down that ramp. But for now, it's still a relatively equal game. It is those 2 Mountain Dragons that really separates FPX from WE and the 2 Cloud Dragons from WE to FPX. Next Dragon's going to be Elder as well. So in a couple minutes from now, we will have 2 objectives for both teams to look at and try and skirmish over.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to be choosing these fights. FPX, they had the option to go straight AP on the Vladimir and put him on side lane. Especially with the Earth Dragons, he would have been able to take a lot of damage off those towers, but he's committing to a tank playstyle. He's got himself the Spirit Visage, good itemizing up against the Cassiopeia and the Cho'Gath. So that's great on his side, to be able to deal a little bit to the Mystic damage as well, but that just means that if he gets on top of them, he's going to get so much HP back for himself. Sure, he's not going to be, you know, Zhonya's Hourglass, annoying Vladimir, but he can be a little bit of a frontline person.
Just a long line of zombie wards leading to the Baron. If you couldn't already see it, Crisp is in the mid lane, seeing if we can find a flank onto WE. Not going to happen here. She pushing up the top lane once more. Bottom lane pushing in, so FPX actually just decided to go for this one. He said he can burn it. It's already down to a 30 HP. Oh, they do so much damage, and now they're taking the Rise Order out of there. Feast in the night. The Baron's gone.
They are so quick to doing it and have the Earth Dragon as well. WE were so confident that they had the Scuttle Crab vision. They can mosey on over there and stop them from taking it, but they didn't know what HQ would be.
That was absurdly fast. That was Ryze, Caitlyn, I guess single target damage from Pepper's Kha'Zix and then Gimgoon on this one with the Vladimir. But that was still absurdly quick. I mean, there was members in like mid-brush, like mid-lane brush. Like that's so close to Baron.
Yeah, I think they weren't expecting how much damage Caitlyn would be outputting. Sure, Ryze is going to be able to output so much damage, but Caitlyn at this point in time, 36 minutes into the game, 420 CS, has full items if we're just like not even looking at the QSS. Going to be having Miraculous soon enough, but like she is so ahead of the pace right now in this game.
The only reason I want to see that Baron again is to actually see if that beat the Guinness Book of World Records fastest Baron of all time. Like that was 6 seconds, 7 seconds flat. Insane stuff from FPX, and we've kind of mitigated all of that Baron dance. I mean, after all of that, it was a straight up steal. The whole team stole it away from some Summoner's Rift right there. FPX have the Baron buff, now able to siege in the mid lane, and then WE having to play to the beat of FPX's drum as Pepper is just landing CC from the sidelines, getting his slows down onto WE. Let's see if they can deal with this cannon minion.
They're just trying to create space so the Baroned up banner minion. Yep. can actually output this damage on the turret.
We're naming this one Cannondorf. We'll see how much he can do.
Cannondorf. I'll try. I haven't played a single Zelda yet, so.
But you still know of the legendary Cannondorf. Well, they actually have 2 right now, so 2 cannon minions are just sieging this tower. It's almost down just from this one push. Oh, looking to engage right now onto Pepper and LWX. He's going to back away from this one. Chris dives deep and flashes away with the Unbreakable Will. He's still trapped in place, and the CC is insane right now from WE, chunking the Alistair through his ultimate. Kimgoon backing away, but is slowed from the Winter's Bite.
Oh, Righteous Glory.
They have the speed up. 957, can he get in range for the silence, the knock up as well? He's looking for it to flash. The animation cancel is good. The knock up as well onto the Vladimir. Destroyed by Mystic.
All right, this is when Pepper pulls up his scary pants. Like, I'm going to take this tower, guys. We've made a few mistakes. They technically have nothing they can go to. They broke up a siege, but they have no other objectives they can fight for unless if they try for this. This is interesting.
Looking into the mid lane, Celestials like once again just dropping the shield and tanking the damage for the minion wave more than anything so they can take the inner tower here away from FPX. 957 will respond in the bottom lane. There was a tower in response from Pepper, so 1-for-1 tower trade, but it's still FPX with the Baron, so the fact that W have managed to do that in the first place is impressive.
Yeah, it really is. I was wondering what the play was going to be for WE. The usual play is to look for an engage so you can smite down that bannered minion, Banendorf, just so you can look to take it away, because that's an easy way to take down Inhib turret. But it looked like they got so much more than they would have hoped for. They decided, hey, you know what? Ditch that minion. Let's go for the Alistar that cannot tank us. So, really strong play coming out.
Miraculously, the mid tower still survives as well from WE. It's still alive and kicking. Not by much though, it is definitely very low, but FPX is going to take them a long time before they can mount another assault into the mid lane towers, very deep into WE territory. Feels like we're going to be waiting another monster objective now from both teams to really open up this game once more. And luckily, Elder Dragon is spawning in 50 seconds.
That's really
that was a
unfortunate.
big crit.
Yeah, it really was. I was about to say, because this is unfortunate for FPX. Sure, they are ahead of the pace, but the longer the game goes on, the higher the punishment is for losing team fights like that. Suddenly, if they lose a team fight like that, they lose Inhib, or it may be even the game depends on how close they are to their own Nexus. So they cannot make a mistake.
Well, LWX was half health Chia in 2 auto attacks, so he is definitely hurting right now. Remember that FPX are running triple Gathering Storm. Celestial caught in place. He's already low, but he brings up the shield. The shield are keeping him alive as well. Over the wall, Pepper finds the assassinate, jumps back Chia, chasing him down, but he flashes out of this one as well. He's still chasing down Pepper, but the rest of his team is in shambles. Cool still alive. They lock down the Cho'Gath and Rune Prison. And that's 4 kills to FPX.
At least Xie remains alive, but FPX come up big. Specifically, Pepper comes in with the flank onto Magic. I think they take the win, actually. I don't know what Xie can do, but he's got to do something.
We'll see. I mean, Cool was low. Gimgoon and LWX, did he have enough? They only have 1 minion here.
They're bringing him in.
Cool. The dropship comes in. He's speeding up the process. Xie, it's really a battle with him and the minions right now because LWX is starting to knock down these towers. The headshots work against towers because this is going to drop very quickly. And 3 carries alive. They just run down Xie. And FPX right now, they're taking a game against WE. They'll knock down the Nexus. And 40 minutes, FPX take the win.
And in Cool's comeback, his first game with the team, FPX come up big, taking down Team WE.
Just feels like the cross-conference training arc has paid off. FPX looked like a very different team from 4 weeks ago. And playing against WE, I never would have expected a performance like that from FPX, where they're able to meet them in the early game, meet them in the mid game because there was an early game, and then eventually take the win.
So patient coming out of them. I'm so surprised from that. Pepper specifically was such a patient player this game. Usually we're just waiting on that one mistake coming out of him to cost him his team the game, but not this time around. Early game advantage. Team fights were strong. And Cool played it cool. I'm going to say it, because we haven't seen him since August 20th, like when he was with LGD. That's a long time of not being a player, a competitive player. He's playing solo queue, but he comes back and he makes it look easy.
It was just a good win from FPX. I mean, you can't look at this game and be like, ah, well, WE threw them a lot of bones in that game and then they just picked them up and were able to pick up wins. No, they just played the early game well, they played the fights well, and they played the Baron rush exceptionally well, and that really was what opened up the game for FPX and allowed them to close out this game. It seems like they all had it down pat, and one of my questions at the start of the game, will Cool interact with the team well? Will he be able to fit into the team? What's his synergy like with Pepper? Well, looks pretty good.
Yes, I'll say yes to all of them, even though the questions that are not a yes or no answer. I'll just say yes. He's been performing well in this game. I think the biggest one now for me when it comes to WE, because you're right, WE came in with the same performance we've been seeing in the last few series, and it's a big question on the Magic, who performed really poorly this game. So it comes down to him individually. If they find themselves in those team fights, in those formations, he can't break formation. You got to remain strong, or Mystic gets taken up, and he got beaten down this game.
Yeah, it's a lot of mechanical stuff, honestly, coming out of Magic. He's in the right place, but does the wrong thing. So we'll see if he's able to fix it for Game 2 as we send it over to the analyst desk to take a look at Game 1.
Thank you, gentlemen. And like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Cool has returned, and he picks up his first victory back in the LPL.
Yeah, he's able to join FPX at the correct time as well, so I'll give him some credit for playing well. I thought Cool was perfectly fine, but all of FPX have shown that they want to play a different style of League of Legends. It's not just chaotic forwards action that'll still happen from them here and there, but it's slowing the game down and being able to get victories that way, and it's proven to be successful.
And I want to take a look at the draft, and I think what was interesting here is the difference between Cool and Bing is you actually have a pivot point. You know, the mid lane isn't just getting smashed in on FPX and then the rest of their side lanes fall apart. Cool was able to hold his own despite taking the counter matchup of Cassiopeia and Rise.
Absolutely, he was able to hold his own. It looked like he actually had a substantial amount of control in just the laning phase itself as well, and perhaps not interacting with Xie that much. I know that Xie on Cassiopeia loves to engage on you, loves to fight you and go forwards constantly, and wants to push you away from minions. So you'd think that traditionally in this matchup in the 1v1, the Cassiopeia would do very well. So it is honestly quite surprising to see Cool hold his own to the degree that he did, and allow FPX to advance, push forwards, and allow Pepper specifically to invade into the jungle and take away Raptors.
And I'm really glad that you said the name Pepper. I'm going to echo what Raz said on the cast. He talked about how it was kind of this unknown quantity of Pepper and Cool would be able to fit together. But frankly, watching that game, Pepper reminded me a lot of Loveling, a very aggressive forward jungler. Of course, Loveling was the old OMG jungler, the famous boyfriend duo of Cool and Loveling as they were known.
Yeah, of course, and being able to be aggressive, get those extra camps off, helped and did a lot for him specifically in the jungle, but that's also the converse to it, right? You can be aggressive, you go into the jungle, don't forget his opponent that then falls behind and had a very shaky game number 1 in Magic. That was not the best performance from him.
Yeah, and let's kind of talk about how this stretched out then into terms of gameplay. There wasn't really an early game, there wasn't really a mid game, and when you looked at Team WE's composition, they needed to hit on that mid game. That is a Varus, Cassiopeia, and Shogath. Your Baron presence at 20 minutes is absurd on a 2-item power spike. So what happened here?
I mean, they've got very good neutral objective control. They've also got a really good level 6 spike. So there's moments where Team WE could perhaps push forwards, use those advantages they had, and ultimately, I do think execution played a decently large part in it, and I think composition, whilst it had moments where it was strong, also was a big part of the downfall, and I always look towards the Varus. I think Mystic had an absolutely fantastic game. His awareness, his flashing, his mechanics were all sound.
Those blue buff fights?
Yeah, exactly. But then it comes down to the fact that he is still a Varus. And then you compare that to his opponent, which is LWX on a Caitlyn. This is something that's always going to backfire in the end. The outscaling was always evidenced. And even through the mid-game fights where WE looked good, LWX still had moments of brilliance himself. And these are those last big fights that start to turn around the whole game and give the major lead to FPX.
Like thieves in the night, Pulse said, and that was a, 3-second Baron take? And like you were saying, the outscaling potential from FPX composition. The fact that you had a Vladimir, you had a Rise, you had a Caitlyn, there was a timer from minute 1 on Team WE for them to execute, and you look at their gold difference at 20, I believe it's -80, or no, it's -301. It's worse than -80. So they have one of the lowest gold leads at 20 minutes in the LPL, and they picked a 20-minute composition and rolled over and died.
This is the weirdest thing ever from Team WE, isn't it? Like, Clement even mentioned it just into a chat message before. It's like, thank God WE have drafted winning lanes for the first time in forever, and I was shocked by it as well, but typical WE, they'll draft winning lanes and they'll somehow find a way to lose in those lanes to continue the trend forwards of struggling at 20 minutes, and that does make you wonder what their plan's going to be coming into the next game, because they can try and draft winning lanes, they can try and draft further winning lanes and just exploit their opponents, but if they keep losing the lanes, then maybe scaling is really the only way for them.
And we'll have to see. They definitely need to draft winning lanes, especially across from Cool, who will pick up our man of the match. So kind of surprising. I felt that Pepper had a strong contest for that one, but I guess Cool's back in the LPL. Throw him a little bit of love.
Absolutely. The last team fight from Pepper was very much a surprising thing. He played incredibly well. Cool had his very good moments. Of course, the ultimate usage was sound from him, except for the one in mid lane. We'll pretend it never happened. He flashed away anyway.
Look away.
Everything's okay. Yeah, I'd say for the rest of the team, you know, LWX was inconsistently good. Like there was big shining moments where him as the Caitlyn's good, and then there's sometimes he's just standing in a blue buff and nets with no mana
wandering
over the
back
wall.
and forth.
Yeah, screams and runs away from Shea when he finds the snake. But that was actually a surprising good showing from Cool.
Yeah, but we'll see if they get a good showing in game number 2 because it is still a best of 3. We're not the NALCS, but don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.